Hey guys, we've had so much rain, haven't we? It's been really hard to get anything done. This last week it's just been rain after rain after rain, and there's been so many really bad floods going off. So in terms of work and getting stuff done on your lawn, it has been very difficult. Now today the sun is shining, but that does not mean that the lawn can be walked on. It does not mean that you can get anything done. So we need to inspect, and by inspect I mean stand on it. Is it firm? It can be a little bit damp, that is fine. But if it's firm, you're good to go. If it's wet and squidgy, forget it. So we are scarifying first, and then we're running the Holotine aerator over. We're doing it in that order, just to minimise any sort of creating any muddy sections. Now you can see the blades of grass are wet. You can see the beads of water. But can't do too much about that. If we go nice and steady, it's absolutely fine. Mr. Sunshine's out. Now as I walk on it, it's actually firm and there's no problem. So this has drained really well. So we're going to crack on. We're going to scarify first and just go nice and steady, up and down and across if needs be. And then we're going to run the aerator over and get everything cleared up. And this should recover in about 6 weeks. What I will say is if the temperatures are up, the grass is growing. If the grass is growing, the grass can recover from any work that you do. You still need about 6 weeks. 6 weeks of temperatures above 7 or 8 degrees for it to recover. It can take longer when the temperatures dip, just to be aware when you're doing any work on your own lawn. Alright, you'll see that the bin is absolutely chock-a-block full, and that is just with one pass. Thankfully, he's brought next door neighbour's bin round, which is going to be really helpful. So in places, like down there in the corner where we've got the shade, it's thinner, so it doesn't produce as much thatch. And thatch is obviously there when there's a lot more sun. Anyway, here we have a lot more sun throughout the year, but we also have the shade, and that leads to more thatch and more moss, as you can see. So in places it was pulling it out nice and easy, but in other places the moss and thatch was quite thick. So we're going to run the scarifier over a second time, but in a different direction. But now we've got to be really careful because we are getting lower to the ground. And we're at the time of the year where we can't really do any overseeding without a decent success rate. So we've got to be really careful with how we go. So I'm going to go in a different direction, but a little more steadier now. And I dare say we'll get quite a bit of thatch out again. I bet we fill half the bin at least. Some areas it's not going to need it, but the bulk of it is going to be done a second time. So let's crack on and see how we get on. Remember, it's all about thatch thinning, not moss removal. You will remove some moss, and you can rake out a lot of moss if you want to, but then you're going to have to reseed. At this time of the year in autumn, you've got to thin things out so things can drain through nice and easy. You can see we haven't taken all the moss out, but we have thinned it out. And that is the right thing to do for your lawn. Look how much we've taken out. Second time. Okay, so now I'm going to run the aerator over. It's just going to punch a load of holes in the ground and pull the soil out that's in those holes. And what that does, it relieves compaction. Because if the soil is nice and compacted, what will happen is we remove the soil and the surrounding soil will eventually close in and close the hole, but that relieves compaction in the surrounding soil. Repeat that thousands of times across the lawn and you've got a much better aerated lawn. Let's crack on. Now this is where I've got to be really careful with this now. Because it is a little bit wet, although it is firm, too much churning around is going to bring the mud up and the water will rise up. So nice and steady, especially when turning. And we just want to minimise how many times we go across one area. So I'm going to try and do it all in one go. Nice and steady. Okay, crack on. Like and subscribe. Okay, that's all done. It's neat. It's enough. We have thinned out the thatch. That is the aim. You cannot take all the moss out, because if you do, where it's really thick with moss, there's going to be nothing left and then you'd have to overseed, and it's the wrong time of the year to be overseeding. Last thing I need to do is put some autumn fertiliser on to help the roots, to help the health of the plant and to help aid recovery. I'm going to put a bit of weed killer on as well. Okay, So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.